Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. This video is about 15 points, and on behalf of God, and in a way that is fair and just and right, I'm accusing females of having done me wrong in this video to help them understand my argument. I've made a lot of videos about females over the years. This should be one of the better ones. Remember, the Lord weighs the heart. People are tested by their praise. And as water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. Point number 1. I charge all attractive females, except a few from 6+ years ago, with shunning Christ. That is me. Okay, point number 2. The psychological damage from being shunned while being a romantic, smart, moral, and attractive man is worse than the psychological damage of someone who has been raped several times in their life and someone else who is sexually harassed every day put together. Now, some of you might not believe this. Well, let me put into perspective for you. I've made several points here to make it clear that I'm right. 1, we'll call A, waking up single every day. That's every day. You're better off being sexually harassed every day and being married to someone you're in love with than waking up single every day. B, the continued offenses, right? You say, why are you single every day? Because everyone's so evil that someone who is handsome, moral, smart, and romantic is shunned every single day. There's continued offenses, unrepentant sinners, what have you. C, the hypocrisy that you have to face is utterly disgusting. It's appalling, it's abhorrent, it's utterly disgusting. D, the frustration and knowing that you're going to be frustrated in the future. E, the dark thoughts that people often have when they're shunned unfairly. F, children come from sex. So yes, sex is important. People get killed over people sleeping with their wife and so on and so forth. Over people sleeping with people's wives and so on and so forth. G, people trying to prey on you and trying to get you to settle while you're shunned is something else. Catfish, what have you. H, what's the point of having your own place? Okay, if you're going to be single, what a waste of money, right? Your parents must be pretty obnoxious if you're going to spend thousands of dollars a month having your own place when you could save that money until you meet somebody, then move out, and then you'll have a lot of money to start your new life, right? And think about the implications of that. You live with your parents till you're like 60 years old, till you die, or they die. Even in the word single, you have the word sin, single. The word single is a play on words for single. Horrible, right? Horrible. A choice. See, ho, ice. The word house, ho, use. Home, ho, me. Meal, me, lay. Grub, g, rub. Don't forget there's worms who pretend that they don't understand the wordplay there. I would have understood it at 2 years old. It's like understanding, the Cat in the Hat or some nursery rhyme. But there's people who pretend that they don't understand what I'm saying. And if you honestly don't understand, put in the comments. Right? G-rub, rubbing somebody, like rubbing somebody's body, caress, rubbing their booty, what have you. The wordplay is suggesting that people with money are coercing people into having sex, right? Food, faux, do, and feed, fee, D, menu, date. Okay. Next point. I've gone over this before in my videos in the past. In fact, I have some of the wordplay on bumper stickers in my car, and I put it out there every single day. Prepare, pre-rape, compare, mock rape, pirate is raped, scrambled, what have you. Corporate, core, pirate. 3, I charge the majority, that is the majority, of females with horrible crimes, like being a gold digger, being shallow, suffering from fragility, suffering from being in denial, being privileged and not doing what's right, refusing to atone for their guilt, and preferring wicked conformists to righteous men, and I consider myself the last truly righteous man, though my father is blameless, If it is fear, even if it is fear that causes them to make the wrong choice. Again, see hoe ice. Everyone has choices. Are you going to be a hoe and prostitute yourself to money, or have a racial imperative or religious imperative instead of date with a scale of universal pinpointed moral precision? That's sick. Point number 4. Females that dress in a sexually provocative or sexually suggestive way are rubbing it in, especially if the clothes are professional or elegant. Why do you think it's called a strip tease? And how does the strip tease start? It starts in a way that usually is more covered up than a lot of these chicks out here, showing their goods. But the government has been poisoning people for an LGBT agenda and other agendas, white Jewish and LGBT supremacy agenda in a certain way that has caused people to be a lot less attractive than they used to be. The average 20-year-old these days, for example, 30, is a lot less attractive than the average 20 and 30-year-old from the 90s. Okay. So when a wicked, dull, and unrepentant person disagrees, they are just making a fool of themselves. What is there to disagree with? It's even called sexually provocative, and sexually suggestive, and a strip tease. Can you imagine if you're an idiot who thinks you should disagree? Okay. Point number 5. Porn stars and sex workers throw fuel on the fire, as do sluts and strippers. The righteous man can't find a woman of noble character to make love to. Right? Love conquers all. Love is what matters. Love is the answer. The righteous man can't find a woman of noble character to make love to. Who's a suitable helper, obviously. But scoundrels have scoundrel sex with sluts all the time. In Proverbs, we see that it says the wicked accept bribes in secret to pervert the course of justice. Don't let it be that you're a Christian and you think you should disagree. Why do you think it's called perverting? Perverting the course of justice. Think about it. Pervs perverting the courts of justice. You think that you don't live in a society of gold diggers and capitalism and crony capitalism and hypergamy, which means dating toward the money? Using guys as stepping stones? The disposable male? Think again. Psalm 45 says the woman should submit to the king, and Proverbs 16:12 says the throne is established in righteousness. And Proverbs 24:21, I believe it is, says, fear the Lord and the king, my son, and do not join with rebellious officials. Do not rebel, submit, and admit. Admit and submit. But they don't want to do that. The word prison is a play on words for prize son. For those of you into the occult, you know that I'm right to a T. You know that I'm right, 100% for sure. You've seen evidence over the course of your life that the word prison means son for a reason, because pan means all for all the Greco-Roman deities. For those of you who don't understand them, think about various white spirits in society, white, Jew, and LGBT spirits. Ways about them, typical, types, breeds, whatever you want to call it, statues and states. They are basically Greco-Roman, Neo-Greco-Roman types and states and statues, what have you. Okay. So we also, those of you into the occult, you know about Priapus, Alpha Pus, Priapus. Tarot, tear the O. Tarot, the word tarot is like the word Torah with an extra T, which is the feminine suffix. There's a long story why that is, but typically in popular culture, it's a female or a gay guy, using tarot, mostly females, right? And I could go on and on about witchcraft and switchcraft and what the implications. The word witchcraft is a play on words for white sea craft. I can go on about that, but let's just stick to this paper here. Let's not go off on a tangent here, though it is very interesting. I have videos about that stuff. 6. I charge all attractive females with not making this up to the last truly righteous person ever possible. By this, I mean me. Now, what did they not make up to me? Well, you see, there are rape scenes that are designed to torture the single shunned, romantic, righteous, and attractive man and to tempt him to be evil. I have this one video where I show you a cartoon picture of Jafar raping imprisoned Princess Jasmine in front of Aladdin while he's tied up. There's a reason why there's sexual implications in Wonder Woman being tied up, why Superman's supposed to save her, or Lois Lane tied up, or some scantily clad female that is tied up in many movies and cartoons. There's a certain pattern of torture that's designed to cause the righteous man to suffer. Think dominatrix and sexual sadism. People who get a kick out of causing abuse, and they get a sexual kick, and then these whores who've betrayed the hero have satanic sex with these people in the corporate form, in cults, in churches, you name it. In rooms underneath churches. Very, very sick, very pathetic. Point number 8. I charge all attractive females with being complicit with setting the stage for people to be called incels when they talk about romantic justice. Now, if you're controlled opposition like a conservative Christian who talks about feminists, then you're also complicit. You're controlling the opposition. You think you're not complicit? You're making sure the problem doesn't get solved by controlling the opposition and trying to reinforce the core people doing it, which is the white, Jewish, and LGBT governing class. Like, who doesn't know that? When I spill it out like that, it makes it more clear, but you should already know that. And either way, even if you're unwittingly complicit, you're still complicit. Point number 9. I charge a certain racial group of, or a religious group of females with extreme complicity with making the Jewish Lilith demon popular with only controlled opposition claiming to stop them. Lilith is a very evil demon. You don't use a demon as a symbol of females doing what's right and empowering females for stupid reasons with a fake scale so you can manipulate them and reinforce white supremacy, white Jewish and LGBT supremacy in the left-right paradigm isn't helping women, isn't the right thing to do. Lilith is a demon that kills babies for the wrong reasons, right? No possible good reason for it. No, one could argue there's no good reason to kill a baby. That's more complex of an issue because of certain religious arguments, because of the existential arguments that can arise from that particular question in regards to what should be allowed, what is the right way for God to punish people, and hey, we shouldn't limit God at all, and things like this. So because of things like that, right, we shouldn't argue that God should be limited to your sense of morality. There's arguments like this that can be made, so that's a more complex issue from another day. But one thing we can say for sure is that Lilith kills babies in mythology for an evil reason. And you'd have to stretch the story to the extreme to argue that that's not the case. This is not somebody who is raped getting an abortion here. This is somebody who encourages evil cultures where people have children in a reckless way and then they get an abortion, or they get pregnant in a reckless way, then they get an abortion, or then they kill their own kids. That's what Lilith is a demon of. And the word Lilith is a play on words for el-hit. Okay, and the word thief is a play on words for hit, fee, and there's other words that talk about this, right? A striking resemblance. What happens when you're an evil person and you throw a punch? Okay, there's variations of evil, and there's variations of evil punches, and there's technologies that they use to try to play it off, where they try to make gay people seem like they're throwing magically throwing a heroic punch or something. No offense to anybody. This is what's going on here. If it was straight people doing it to gay people unfairly, if such a thing is possible, okay, then I would say that too. Okay. Point number 10. I charge all attractive females with feeding into white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy and sexual control while shunning the most righteous person that ever lived. We all know that if I went on TV and said this, there's people who would argue that I'm wrong, and they'd make some kind of Bill O'Reilly, argument, some kind of Fox News argument, white supremacist argument or something, corporate arrogant fool argument. But we'd all know damn well that that's the case. And we all know damn well that propaganda, quote-unquote, heroes aren't real heroes. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, not for propaganda's sake, or not somebody who's going to be elevated by propaganda worms. Woe to you when all men speak well of you. Because that's how their ancestors spoke of the false prophets, and like father, like son. Okay. Unless, of course, they obey God through me and are redeemed in time, before my flesh died. Point number 11. I charge all attractive females with ignoring the true moral message of all love songs. If you truly see through the corporate, rich, token minority garbage in the love songs and whatever else, white supremacy subtle there, the Jewish agenda, the LGBT agenda in the love songs, you see through all that bullshit, all that fake Hollywood glitter, raping kids spirit, fairy spirit bullshit, you see that their love song is superimposed on something that's meaningful. That goes beyond any R&B singer, and they all worship the devil. The true version is a divine and pure righteous man who's found a suitable helper, who feels in love, and so on and so forth. So I charge all attractive females with ignoring that message for complete propaganda bullshit, and quite often with a racial or financial or religious imperative instead of, when I say religious, I mean superficial religious and not deep and true. Point number 12. I charge all attractive females with not having the moral courage to truly be a woman. Point number 13. I charge all attractive females with not caring to truly see who I am. The word care is a play on words for CR. So are they compassionate if they don't care? No. If you don't see me who I am, how are you going to be compassionate with me? How are you going to have compassion for me and sympathy and empathy? How are you going to have these things? You don't even see me who I am. You don't even acknowledge that I'm the Son of God. And you have no counter argument for the question that I intend to ask people very soon in person. I might very well start here in Morgan Hill. Is if the top martial artist ever possible isn't the Son of God, then who is he? He is me. And I must be the Son of God. You think you're equal to the top martial artist ever possible? What, you have delusions of grandeur? Are you crazy? And you're going to assume that magically it's not me, magically? Without even asking me questions, without even exploring when I'm the brain surgeon's son? I'm a tall Nigerian, a person of Nigerian descent who's a brain surgeon's son. You're going to assume that I'm wrong because the white man has told you that all Nigerians are con men or something? So perhaps there's no such thing as a Nigerian doctor or scientist. I mean, how stupid would you have to be? The most educated group at one point of any race here in America, not too long ago, and it might very well still be the case, is Nigerians. But you're going to assume that something has to do with mind, body, soul, and spirit, that a Nigerian couldn't possibly be the top at that thing? That's stupid. See Jordan flying through the air. See John Jones excelling in MMA, which is not the pinnacle of martial arts, mind you. You know that black people are disenfranchised. A lot of times they couldn't afford martial arts, and you're going to assume that a black person couldn't be the top martial artist ever possible, especially if he's a brain surgeon's son. That is stupid. That is the epitome of denial. That's pathetic. It's racist as hell. Shame on you people if you take that stance. Shame on you. See Matthew 7, first remove the log from your own eye before you run your devil mouth. And certainly before you decide to shun the top martial artist ever possible. Point number 14. I charge all attractive females with making it so I have less places to go because they are shunning me, thus increasing the tension at my parents' house. Hey, who would have thought? When someone's heartbroken in the middle of nowhere, shunned and targeted, and attractive females like, I don't want any trouble, so I'll be a hypocrite. What happens? What happens is it's a domino effect. Bad things happen. Setting the stage for me to start yelling and screaming and going to the psych ward or getting in a fight with my brother or whatever the fuck might happen. You set the stage for that. Bad things do happen. If you treat people unfairly and you increase the chance that they're going to happen, then you're a fucking piece of shit. You shouldn't have to explain this to people. You should already know this. You should already behave accordingly. Point number 15. I charge all attractive females with being on the spectrum of playing stupid about the painfully obvious fact that the righteous man that lives with his parents is infinitely greater than the financially stable person that has their own place, whether they are rich or not. Whether either one is rich or not. So again, it's the last point here. I charge all attractive females with being on the spectrum of playing stupid about the painfully obvious fact that the righteous man that lives with his parents is infinitely, again, the word is infinitely greater than the financially stable person that has their own place, whether they are rich or not. Because in this society, on this planet, if you are righteous, you are persecuted. You are blacklisted because of their black magic, occult thinking. Because of their dark hearts. Because they're callous, insensitive, and wicked hearts. They're callous hearts. Now, just for a little snippet, a little tidbit for the future, I'm going to be talking about the McGill song eventually, where he says, "Let my love adorn you," and he says the same way that the stars adorn the sky. So, for those of you who argue that that God doesn't exist, you're arguing that true heterosexual love in its pure form derived from moral precision doesn't exist. When you argue that God doesn't exist, because the two are connected. That's the Spirit of God. Do you believe that Love can adorn somebody the same way that the stars adorn the sky. Do you believe that love can resonate from somebody like the sun and the sunlight? The sunlight resonates from the sun. Like the sunlight is projected, comes from the sun, is vibrating from the sun, is an energy and a wave, it's something that we can't put our finger on coming from the sun. Adore and adorn. And alpha door, a door. Deserve and day serve. Thank you.